So 2024 is officially rung out. How'd we do? Well, in terms of gold and silver prices, we did pretty good. Predictions and possibilities, we did okay. So all in all, I'd say we made it. So we have the year in and we can look back at the numbers now. Silver gained 21% for the year, gold gained 27.2%. Now, there was a lot of talk about 2024 being silver's year, and we can look at this two ways. First is that 21%, well, that's a fantastic gain for silver. The second would be, maybe people got a little bit too excited. Gold did outperform it, 6.5%. And a lot of people said that wasn't going to be the case. Now, it doesn't matter though. These are great numbers, relatively speaking. Silver actually lost 0.5% in 2023, so I would say 21%. It's a pretty good gain. Any disappointment there could only be in terms of expectations. 21% annual gain would be considered a great return for any asset, really. Now, most of us buying physical metals, though, think of them more as savings than investments. But if we were to look at the performance of all assets for the 21st century, well, they're doing pretty well. And gold in particular is at the top of all major asset classes. Let me show you a chart because we're talking about specifics here. This is gold and silver versus the major stock indices, S&P 500 and the Dow. Gold is up 820%. Now this is missing 2 trading days. Silver is up 490%. Compare that to the S&P 312% and the Dow's 302%. Yeah, but that doesn't include dividends, right? Well, we can include dividends. The total return index includes reinvestment of any distributions. That includes dividends, and gold still outperforms it. Now, I don't know that these comparisons really make a lot of sense because these are different asset classes, but it's good for background. Now, some of you out there are probably going to be saying, what about crypto? Well, they weren't around in 2000, so Bitcoin could be at $2 today, and that would still be an infinite gain. You just can't multiply by zero. And if you've done well with Bitcoin or any other crypto for that matter, I would just say congratulations. I'm not going to discount anybody's success there. Quick shout out to Summit Metals. If you want to ring in the new year with some gold or silver, well, you know what to do. Hit up Summit Metals. They've got great prices, fast shipping, and I really appreciate you giving them a shot. SummitMetals.com. Now, the strange thing about these big gains in both gold and silver is that the sales of physical metals don't line up with that excitement. We can actually see bullion sales from the US Mint have dipped, and they've dipped considerably. Now, we don't have December numbers in, but we can see the annual performance on the US Mint website, and it's possible November numbers aren't fully reconciled here either, but we see 186,500 ounces of buffaloes produced in 2024. Don't worry, we're not going to be quizzed at the end of this. I'm just going to repeat these. If we look in 2023, we would see that the gold buffalo production is 387,000 ounces. So we're talking about fewer than half the gold buffalo production year over year, even if we allow for an average December. Now, let's look at American eagles because the volume of eagles is far higher than buffaloes. 2024 would show 403,500 total ounces in gold eagles. You can see that here. That's all eagles, 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, everything. 22,860,000 in silver eagles. Again, no quiz here. I'll repeat that in a minute. If we look at 2023 as a comparison, we can see that silver eagle production was pretty close, down 10%, but gold eagles were way down. 924,000 1-ounce gold eagles in 2023, but this table isn't even showing fractional for some reason. The Mint actually produced another 143,000 ounces in fractional gold eagles, so that would give us a total of 1,067,000 versus 403,500 this year. So again, the Mint produced fewer than half the gold eagles compared to 2023. Quite a bit fewer. It's only about 38%. Again, that's missing December numbers. Now, what does it all mean? Well, beyond the fact that 1/10 ounce gold eagle production was up in 2024, and I don't know how interesting that is because overall those numbers were way down, the annual production numbers, they tell us something very interesting. The American Eagle mintages don't line up to what we might think of as high demand years. We only thought about high demand in terms of relative high prices. So times like 2011 or 2024, where everyone was excited about the big price gains, you would think that the production would be way up, but that's not the case. Look at what happened in 2015 and 2016. This wasn't about the price of gold being high. This was about other things going on. These were years where we saw a big sell-off in the markets. So let's flip to a price chart here. If we look at 2015 and 2016, we can see gold price was in the dumps compared to the big run from 2011. Now, these are the years that I mention a lot as being boring stacking years. I was buying regularly, but nobody was talking about it. Now, if you look at the mint production numbers, though, it's pretty clear I wasn't the only one buying. Now, silver's a little bit different. We don't see the pattern where mintage numbers fall with high prices. And okay, sure, let's look at another table. We can see that 2023 was a big year. This in a year when silver spot price lost 0.5% in annual gains. I guess that's a loss. But if you look at 2020, that one makes more sense. Those are big numbers when everyone was scrambling for safe haven assets. But 2015 and 2016, well, they were big like gold when prices of silver were low. But then 2013 and 2011, when silver was high, and I mean really high, 2011 spike in price went up to $48, which would be the near all-time high. Well, the US Mint was just churning out the Eagle. So if you can see a pattern in all of this, let us know in the comments because I just don't see it. By the way, I said near all-time high. We all know the all-time high of silver was in 1980. It's when the Hunt brothers shenanigans took silver to $49.95 in January. The reason I don't mention it much is because the price of silver was $11 by March. So I guess what I take from all of this is that people tend to stack gold far more when risk-on assets are doing poorly. So if the stock market is selling off, the US Mint seems to recognize that and they know to pump their numbers up on gold. Now with silver, people tend to stack it whenever they feel like it. And maybe there's a deeper observation in there, but I would just say it probably has a lot to do with the lower unit cost of silver. And looking specifically at 2024, which is what we're doing here because we just cleared that year, gold and silver prices are way up. And they're way up at a time when the markets did not sell off. And if you're using history as a guide here, you might even say they have a lot more to run if the markets do. So mostly this was a recap of 2024. This was a look at final performance numbers for both metals. So anything you had at the end of 2023, gold or silver, was up considerably by the end of 2024. So something to celebrate. And if you're looking forward, well, gold at least has two historical patterns to watch for. First, a sell-off in the markets that would lead people to buy more gold, and the case where more physical gold seems to get snapped up when prices aren't making such big annual gains. So in other words, even a boring year for gold could be pretty exciting. So let's call it good there. I hope your 2024 was a good one. I hope your 2025 will be even better. And hey, if 2024 wasn't a good one, well, I still hope 2025 will be better either way. So let us know in the comments what you're up to. And while you're there, of course, be sure to hit that like button. If you found any of this interesting, be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to hear more on the topic. And if you're still here, well, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Happy New Year. Take care.